What is up, everybody? Thank you for clicking on the video today. We're going to talk about the players that you need to buy in Dynasty post NFL draft. Maybe you're in your rookie draft and you're looking to make a deal. Maybe you're done with your rookie draft and you're looking to make a deal. But these are players nonetheless that you need to buy that should be on your radar. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about Bryce Young. In 2023 was not kind to Bryce Young. To be honest, the fantasy community should have seen this coming. There was no support whatsoever for the 2023 number one overall pick, and it showed on the field. The Carolina Panthers offensive line was terrible last year. They were number 30 in sacks given up per game. They averaged 3.8 sacks given up per game according to teamrankings.com. And as a result, 2023, Bryce Young finishes the quarterback 23 in total fantasy points and the quarterback 29 in fantasy points per game, with Adam Thielen, old man river Adam Thielen, as his leading receiver. However, 2024 might be a different story. The Panthers are doing everything they can to support their number one overall pick. They signed two offensive guards, one of them being Robert Hunt, to a $100 million contract. They traded for Deontay Johnson. They drafted Jonathan Brooks, Xavier Legette, and Jatavian Sanders. We might not agree with all of the moves that they're making. It might seem like they're throwing as much shit at the wall to see what sticks. But this is all good news for Bryce Young, because the more options there are, the more chances there are that some of these offensive weapons succeed. I really like the Jonathan Brooks pick, and Bryce Young is currently the quarterback 20 in Keep Trade Cut's Dynasty Superflex rankings. That's way too low. Go buy him now. Let's talk Terry McLaurin. I get it. Terry McLaurin is 28 years old, but he just received a major quarterback upgrade with Jayden Daniels. Which wide receiver do you think Daniels is going to lock onto during his rookie campaign? I mean, this is a quarterback in Jayden Daniels that had Malik Neighbors, that had Brian Thomas Jr. He had weapons in college, and he's going to be dependent on his weapons in the pros as well. As he gets acclimated to the game, likely Terry McLaurin is going to be the guy that he relies on. And also, by the way, here's a list of quarterbacks that Terry McLaurin has played with since 2019, and I'm going to give you a hint. One of them is not Kirk Cousins. You might think that that was the case, but it wasn't. Here's a list of quarterbacks he's played with: Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, Colt McCoy, Alex Smith, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Garrett Gilbert, Carson Wentz, Sam Howell. Daniels is the most talented of that group, and it might not be close. Currently, McLaurin is ranked as the wide receiver 38 on Keep Trade Cut and the number 97 player overall on Keep Trade Cut's Dynasty Superflex rankings, and I would bet you he's not that hard to trade for. Let's go over the Pittsburgh Steelers backfield, shall we? Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, take your pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers brought in Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator, and he loves to run the ball. He loves to run the ball with maybe not the option that we think he should run the ball with, but still he loves to run the ball. And the Steelers drafted a whopping 3 offensive linemen in the NFL draft, including 2 with their first and second round picks, Troy Fautanu and Zack, who are absolute great picks for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, the Steelers crushed the draft, but this is going to help them establish the run with Russell Wilson leading the way at quarterback, which, by the way, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, it doesn't really matter who they end up going with, probably Russell Wilson. Both of those guys are an upgrade over Kenny Pickett. Najee Harris is currently ranked as the RB24 according to Keep Trade Cut, and Jaylen Warren is the RB28 according to Keep Trade Cut. Both of those way too low. Go buy them right now. Let's shift back to the quarterback, Kyler Murray. This really baffles me. When the Arizona Cardinals drafted Marvin Harrison Jr., either Aaron Rodgers got really jealous or Kyler Murray had a big smile on his face. I bet you both of those things happen, because the Cardinals added a legitimate alpha wide receiver to their room, and they sorely needed one. The Cardinals not only did that, but they added Trey Benson in round 3, along with an offensive guard, Isaiah Adams, at pick number 71, and tight end Tip Ryman at pick number 82. They were also able to add tackle Christian Jones in round 5. A lot of people thought he would go much higher, including Daniel Jeremiah. Kyler Murray is a quarterback with top 5 overall upside in scoring due to his rushing ability, and he's currently being drafted at quarterback 11, number 22 overall in Keep Trade Cuts Dynasty Superflex rankings. Since 2019, when Murray entered the league, he has never finished lower than quarterback 11 in fantasy points per game, and he's currently being drafted at quarterback 11. He's being drafted at his floor right now, and outside of an ACL injury, which kept him out of the first half of the 2023 season, Murray has only missed 2 games. Go get him right now. The recent acquisition of Odell Beckham might scare some fantasy gamers off Jaylen Waddle, but I'm not one of them. Beckham earned just 64 targets last season for the Baltimore Ravens and only played about half the snaps. His volume may be turned up in the Miami offense, but Beckham's presence shouldn't scare anybody and shouldn't be a cause for concern for Waddle's usage. If there is a dip in Waddle's value as a result of the OBJ signing, Dynasty gamers should buy at his current value. It's also rumored that Tyreek Hill is in his final season in the NFL. If that's the case, it's only a matter of time before Waddle sees more of a prime role in the Miami offense as early as next year. I like him this year as well. However, God forbid, if Tyreek Hill were to be injured at any point during the 2024 season, Waddle would be the primary option in a highly potent Dolphins offense. Currently, Waddle is being valued as the wide receiver 15 in Keep Trade Cuts Dynasty rankings, and that's way too low. Sure, Isaiah Pacheco is ranked as the RB15 according to Keep Trade Cut, and yes, Pacheco did finish as the RB15 in fantasy last season and the RB14 in fantasy points per game. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is the perfect ranking. How could they get any much better? But as Donald Trump might say, wrong. That's a wrong answer. It's all wrong. The Chiefs did more this season to open up the running game than many other teams. The Chiefs had a huge problem with drops, so see you later, MVS. Hello, Marquise Hollywood Brown. They signed him first in free agency, and then they draft Xavier Worthy. They trade up to draft Xavier Worthy in the first round of the NFL draft, and then they proceeded to draft 3 offensive linemen in the NFL draft. One of those offensive linemen they took in round 2, Kingsley Suamataia from BYU, who some analysts projected to be a round 1 pick. Also, what might be most important is what teams don't do. What teams don't do shows you how they feel about a certain player. And what the Chiefs didn't do was add a running back either in the NFL draft or in free agency. So Isaiah Pacheco should be a lot better this year, or at least as good as that RB15 floor value. So go get Isaiah Pacheco. Last but not least, we're going to talk about TJ Hockenson, and one of the most mispriced players in Dynasty right now. Because the Vikings selected J.J. McCarthy with the 10th overall pick in round 1, the Vikings also signed Sam Darnold as a bridge quarterback. So they have time to get McCarthy set up before he needs to play right away. And the truth is, Kirk Cousins played in 8 games last season before tearing his Achilles. In those 8 games, Hockenson averaged 14.6 fantasy points per game. In weeks 9 through 16, with a combination of Joshua Dobbs, Nick Mullins, and Jaron Hall, Hockenson averaged 14.6 fantasy points per game. Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy are both upgrades over the trio of Dobbs, Mullins, and Hall. Without question, I don't think anybody would agree on that in a world where we don't agree on anything. But there's the matter of the ACL injury Hockenson is recovering from. Hockenson had surgery on January 29th. The current timetable for recovery will put him back on the field somewhere towards the end of September and early October. Also, Hockenson is just 26 years old, so he's likely going to recover just fine. So you're looking at him missing maybe 4 to 6 weeks of the regular season. But then once the season is at mid-season, Hockenson should be back, and he should be, he might be rusty, but by the end of October, you should be seeing a real difference maker on your fantasy team. And right now, he's valued at the tight end 6, according to Keep Trade Cut, and the player number 59 overall in Dynasty Superflex rankings. I mean, we're talking about the tight end 2 in fantasy points per game last year. This seems like a no-brainer to me, but let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. My name is Seth Diewold. You can follow me on Twitter at Seth_DIEWOLD. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and be good, everybody.